Mm.
Drogheda Patriots.
Yeah, sorry, I'm losing you here. You started talking and it stopped.
Okay, GD breach card. Tasha Agor August I guess chat lum sa Cathal le Drogheda Patriots agus an issue McCudgett atá Karen Green erased Rooney honor and party Drogheda. Okay, everybody, welcome to the next in our series of interviews with prominent Drogheda Patriots, and tonight we have Karen Green, our secretary, again. We're hoping to widen the net, of course, in the upcoming months and weeks, but at the minute we're a bit tied down with the virus situation. So tonight we have Karen, and you're very welcome again, Karen. Great to see you. How are you bearing up with all the lockdown?
I'm not doing too bad. I'm working away. Good evening to you anyway again, Cathal. I'm working away, so I'm kind of doing background stuff in the meantime because, as you know, we can't canvas anymore. We done something last weekend, which is great. We need to keep that up, even if it's in a small way. But obviously now at the moment I'm working on our newsletter, they're keeping us going for a while, and obviously we can prepare for our next plans when this new restriction has been lifted, hopefully in another few weeks. As you know,
just to let everybody know, it's a 2-week shutdown was announced by the Taoiseach Varadkar yesterday. Yeah, so more or less 2 weeks. It's slightly shorter than our shutdown. We've had a shutdown, I think, till the 3 weeks from Monday or Tuesday. So hopefully that the 2-week thing, things can get lifted after that. But it's definitely a 2-week thing, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully that'll be it. It'll start maybe relaxing a little bit more. Maybe businesses can start opening again, depending on the numbers coming down. I'm sure they'll be looking at the cases every day and seeing, because we were meant to be at 10,000 cases, and that's obviously we're very short of that. There's over 2,121, I think, of cases that have been positive, which is a good thing. That means the social distancing is working the way it should. So, even though it's frustrating and very difficult, it is obviously having an impact compared to maybe other countries. I know in England they're having difficulties, so they're already having a good few deaths over there. We have 22 in the Republic, 13 with yourselves up in the north. So at the moment that tactic is working for now. So hopefully, the only thing is the testing is quite slow.
Yeah. What way do you think? A lot of people in the movement there's a lot of kind of talk about that it's conspiracy, etc., and there are people that are kind of going down that line. But I think the evidence is showing that we have to take some action. There'd be criticism if there wasn't any action taken, because if we run out of beds, there's going to be a real problem. That's going to hit the elderly people. So, do you think that we would have to do something, or how do you feel about the action that's been taken, or do you think it's justified, or do you think it's over the top, or what do you think?
It's not over the top, but it is very restrictive because we can't really. I know we have to go out shopping, we have to go in to get prescriptions, and we have to go get some exercise. The 2 kilometre rule around, going for exercise outside your home, it's hard to measure. If you're going to the park with your family, or just going on your own, how well is it going to be policed? Is the Gardaí going to be reasonable about it? And say, okay, you are in your 2 kilometre, in your house. But sometimes people can, go beyond that. They might go for a drive to the beach. But even then, I think the Gardaí are actually restricting that access as well, whether it's a local park or local beach, local travel tourist spot. That happened was the last weekend, where everyone was flooding to those places, the Wicklow Mountains, the Glendalough, and they had to kind of shut the whole thing down, which is a pity, but that's the way people go. And people are frustrated as well because they're not getting out. The weather's actually picked up in the last 2 weeks. That is actually added to it as well. So kind of ironically enough, our weather's got better with this new restriction. So it kind of compounds the fact that people want to get out more, even though they should be really staying at home. It's a case of being patient. It's not going to be easy, but if it works in relation to keeping the hospitals kind of free of the cases, or maybe not get the ICU beds to capacity. I think there's about 250 beds for the whole country of ICU, which isn't great, of several million. and and a lot of people would take them up. Would be people who are in residential homes, nursing homes, people who have respiratory problems already, and they will be going to, and they'll be there for 2 weeks, as far as I know. So it won't be just a few days, and that can take up a lot of time.
What kind of hit home with myself and a few others, I think, was the amount of younger people that have been hit by it. People in their 20s. There's a couple of footballers and Gaelic players were up down with it, and they're ending up on ventilators. So when you start seeing that, it's not just for the old people. So that's why I think everybody's kind of on board with some of these measures, as they are, But I mean, I did make a point this week. I wrote into some of the local papers, some of the dailies in the north and Belfast, Irish News. I used to get a lot of letters published, but I just made the point that it was mentioned in the Irish Examiner about fishermen coming in from Italy and Spain and France, not being subject to COVID restrictions coming into fish in Irish ports. I thought that was outrageous. That's, I mean, in the context of these restrictions going on for Irish people, that seems a wee bit peculiar, doesn't it?
It does, very much so. I mean, if you're going to lock down the country, you have to do it from all sides, from within and from out. And I mean, that includes, planes coming in. The whole thing should be shut down.
They haven't shut it down yet at all on travel in, have they? They haven't.
No, they don't. They haven't done that, even though they stopped the airport buses up in Dublin going to the airport, and yet people could get there if they want to go out. If they can't leave, but they can come in, which I think is a bit strange. And I think the whole thing is a bit it's not foolproof, if you know what I mean. If you're going to do it, you have to do it properly, and then it actually shortened the time we're going to have to do the lockdown in the first place, and hopefully we might not have to extend it, because I mean he's after doing 2 now in the last few days, and he might even look at it again in the 18th or 19th of April, and we could be doing another lockdown depending on how things go, depending on the experts advising the government. So I think he has to do it the whole lot together.
I mean, some countries, Germany and Russia, have had a complete shutdown and lockdown of flights coming in, which they took decisive action. So it wasn't uniform across the European Union. So poor old Ireland didn't do that at all. And okay, Britain actually didn't as well, which I thought was strange. But it seems that they haven't acted on that point, which is unfortunate. But it leaves us, we were obviously hoping to get out and become very busy with activities. And last week, to do a bit of an update, we met some of the fishermen in Clogherhead, and we were around town, rural parts of Drogheda as well. The feedback was quite good. It's positive. I mean, some of those fishermen were saying that they thought there should have even been a lockdown from people coming down from the north. I'm not taking that personally. but, I mean, then we had plans to do on this weekend, and obviously we can't now. But I suppose we can do things like this, and we can. You're working away on a newsletter at the minute as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I am in the middle of doing that. I started that a few days ago, but I'm starting to make hay with it, because it's quite tricky, because you want to make sure that you're getting a message across in a few words as possible, without actually keeping it visual and keeping it interesting. And it's obviously an introductory newsletter, so you're kind of starting from the beginning of introducing the party, the candidate, yourself, and also they come and why we're doing what we're doing and what we do, and to raise the profile of the party, because as you know, when we were running your campaign, we weren't known across the country, but particularly in Louth, because Louth had a very strong, party of Sinn Féin and Fine Gael, and they weren't going to. It was quite strong, so you wouldn't really. It's very hard to get a new party in, and then we need to kind of focus on that. So when things go up and running again, that'll be our main focus, is to raise the profile of the party and getting new members, and obviously if a new election.
On the new members' point of view, you're saying that one of the guys that came to the common meeting, you're saying he's more or less joining up then.
Yes, I'm just waiting for to contact him. Hopefully, maybe tomorrow. I'm going to try and maybe meet him, or maybe during the week, and get to organise that.
We do need to try and get more, but the more the merrier. That's excellent. That's fantastic. He's going to join us. Yeah. Yes. So I mean, I thought it was interesting that the other guy that you'd mentioned, the guy, he's not in the party, but he's thinking of he has his own party. He was suggesting that, just on the point of a follow-up election, that with the with the COVID thing that's going on, it could be even more likely that there could be a snap election. Varadkar could try and capitalise on his, I suppose, showing of leadership, and he might call for a snap election. So I thought that was interesting. So we need to be kind of ready, and if and when it all dies down, he might decide to go for a majority and try and get rid of Sinn Féin, because nobody's talking about Sinn Féin at the minute at all, are they?
No.
So it's all on Fianna Fáil, or sorry, Fine Gael.
Yeah, that's true, and we haven't really seen much of Mary went down the last few weeks. She
saw her once there, but very little of her, really.
Yeah, and that's I thought she might be in there, but I believe she might be ill herself, but I don't know the full story. But I mean, I know the Greens have walked away quite recently from the talks.
Yeah.
I don't know where that leaves them, getting independence, other people to come in and talk to them, because they haven't got enough people to kind of make a proper government, and they can't really go ahead with any legislation, any emergency legislation, until the Senate is being set up, and the only person who can do that is New Taoiseach. And who's that going to be? So they can't really form a government properly until they get all the people in on board. So it could lead to an election, whether I like it or not.
Yeah, it could be, yeah. I mean, we were thinking that they might go ahead and cobble together something that gives them a majority, but I think this dynamic with the Barras thing changes the dynamic a little bit and makes it possibly likely. But just to go back, I saw your chat the other night with the women in the movement, Moran and Ushakta, with Connor. I was jokingly saying it looked a wee bit like an Irish version of Loose Women, but but it was good. And it was you came across very well.
Thank you very much.
There was something I was wanting to just follow up from our last interview, where you talked about your time in the water movement, the anti-water charges. So that was about 2015. Yeah?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So what was the link then between going from that into the kind of patriotic movement, and was it a seamless move, or just briefly, how did you get from that to the patriotic sort of Eurosceptic movement, Karen?
Well, to tell you the truth, it wasn't really seamless, because I actually took a break from left-wing politics for a while, until I always was very uncomfortable about being in the European Union, but I didn't know how to kind of put a face on it. I didn't know how to kind of what do we do? And in the meantime, Brexit, the British people had voted for Brexit, and I was like, oh my goodness, if they done that, it might start us. Irish people might start looking at that. But now, unfortunately, that has kind of sort of scared some Irish people, I think, a little bit. Not everybody. A lot of people in Ireland still want to out of the EU if you kind of look for hard enough. But for myself personally,
you always were a bit Eurosceptic.
Yeah, but I don't know how to kind of find that party that would give it.
Well, back in their 20 years ago or so, Sinn Féin were a Eurosceptic party, but they seemed to have ditched that completely,
Right. Okay. I wasn't aware.
Yeah. So you decided to you were a bit Eurosceptic, but you didn't know how to put that into practice, as it were. Yeah.
Yeah. Until last May, when the European elections were on, and the Irish Party was starting to gain traction. I was aware of them, but I didn't really pass too much heed, because I was in the middle of a few other things myself. And when the elections were on, they were starting to campaign for Herman Kelly, and there was Cathal who ran last May. But I started kind of focusing.
Sorry? So you saw that, and was it the European ones? You saw that, yeah.
As a way of maybe helping them out and seeing what the party is about as well. So I canvassed a little bit with Herman Kelly for a while, and then I seen the results. And I mean, both of them run very well, but they're up against other big parties, up against the mainstream media that really wasn't going to give them a chance. No coverage on TV, campaigns, something like that. And obviously, European elections are a little bit different, because you're covering a wider area. I know Joe has got about 17,000, and I'm not sure what Herman's numbers were, but still, it was a start. And the local elections were going on at the same time. But it gave me a sense of, okay, well, this party is obviously very serious about the European getting out of the EU. So I joined. So it took me a while, I have to admit. It wasn't really seamless. And then when the general election was coming up, we knew it was going to come up soon. Didn't have a date until kind of late January. And then you came along then to Running Loud, Eastmead area. So that was my track into this party and this campaign. So it wasn't quite as seamless as you probably would think. but that's where it came from. But I mean, I kind of brought some of my experience from the left, and it's not a bad thing with me because you know yourself. Sorry.
Similar enough to myself. As I said, that I approached it kind of from the left, as a lot of people I think did. So the whole idea of it being right wing's all a bit of a nonsense, really. You know, it's the left-right divide's gone. Sort of, it's now kind of, you're either globalist or you're nationalist, for want of a better word. You're populist. So it's morphed that way. So we've picked our sides, but yeah, a lot of people did come from the left wing because we kind of thought the left wing then was looking out for the little guy against the establishment.
Yes,
which is kind of where I still would be coming from, you know. But the Labour Party, for example, in Britain has become completely establishment. They were the party of the working class, and now they're the party of the sort of middle class coffee drinking brigade in Islington, London, you know.
Right.
So that's all.
Familiar, but yeah.
So that's all changed completely. But so that's how you moved into that, and then the Patriot groups were kind of set up. Were they? Who originally set that up?
Well, I believe Conor Rafferty done all of that. That was going on in the background around Christmas, and then I kind of got seen this, and I kind of joined in, and then how I met Kay O'Shea, who was our treasurer, and kind of came together very quickly, without too much effort, and I felt that this is the way to go, and we would get involved. It was great to see a party like the Irish Unionist Party in Louth, because it's very sceptical around elections, very poor turnout. An apathetic view, and very much comatose in relation to their elections because they don't really take much heed. And any of them, I've seen that last year as well, of locals. And I get anyone to kind of help you out with your campaign, like even last year. It's very, very difficult. And even door to door. I mean, I know we didn't do door to door, but still we were up against it because nobody really knew us. So hopefully when we're going out the next time, we'll get more traction.
I mean, we are trying. It's not as easy as you think. There's a lot of people get on board with the thing on the Facebook and etc. But when they actually come around to get feet on the ground, it can be quite. It's not as straightforward. Although obviously with the situation with the virus, it's just completely scundered everything. It's just completely put it. As what the last couple of weeks it was just me and you know, but. The diehards, but no, we will get them there, and I put an update out on Facebook of what we've been doing to let people know that we're not going to sleep on this, as we do. Doing these sorts of things here is good, and doing your thing all right with the other ladies and Connor. It's just to mention, just talking about expanding. We talked about at the Ardcorlia meeting about, and at the common meeting that we're going to be moving into the north as well. In future elections, and the next election that was guaranteed to happen will be, well, pending all this emergency, but the next scheduled election will be the Assembly ones in Northern Ireland. And the Freedom Party has talked about standing candidates there. I mean, it's something that I would be looking at as well. What about yourselves? Would you be able to lend a hand with some canvassing and some help with if that did happen, or?
I mean, I would love that. I mean, it'd be some organising, but definitely, I wouldn't be as familiar with the area. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can always help out with transport and stuff, but that would be something that's likely to happen. And I know Connor stood in Mid Ulster, so I think the plan from the party is to move in there, as was mentioned. And I noticed just in some people in some of my friends in some of the areas in the north, the whole idea, as I've mentioned before, is that most people from the Catholic nationalist background would have been pro-EU. And it's unusual that people would be against the EU, because the two main nationalist parties, Sinn Féin, are pro-EU now, but it's the Unionists that are voting against it. So some people think they hear they hear that you've gone for a Eurosceptic party, to think that you've like sold out, that you've traded or whatever, you know. But when they actually look up, because they haven't heard of the Irish Freedom Party at all, but when they actually do the party's policies, they're actually impressed by it, and it's hard to argue against the illogic of free movement of people. I mean, my opinion is quite strong on it. I was one of the ones in the election that was probably one of the more strong ones against the immigration thing. But what's your opinion on free movement? I mean, it's one of the main planks of the Freedom Party. But when people do look into those policies, they do see that there is logic to what we're saying on that. Certainly in free movement. What do you think?
Well, at the moment, we're seeing like a lot of influx of people coming in without any discussion. It's gone beyond the centres of the direct provision. It's now going into in hotels. Hotels are being bought up. They've been sold, and they're being handed over to the government, or even a private entity more than the government, to put people in, and they're being brought in overnight. And there seems to be not just families but young men, and they're being put into places that you would never, in not even cities, they're just small towns in the Midlands. And that to me is not acceptable. There's no discussion. The recent one is Carsavine down in Kerry, Cork area. And to me, that like there's no, but the only thing is, no one is fighting against it enough. I mean, recently it was a Tullamore that we had there just before the lockdown, and that has been going on for a few weeks. But even the locals aren't fighting against it, and that's what.
There is a wee bit of resentment being created about just the sheer lack of consultation.
Yeah, but then the locals aren't kicking up enough either. And I know some of our members have gone down there.
There's not enough, yeah. Well, I think that they are beginning to get wise to it now. They've seen that a lot of this, the build-up of people on the Greek border there, a lot of that's just not refugees at all. So if they even were just honest and framed the debate and says, look, these people are, they're economic migrants as opposed to refugees.
Yeah.
Be more truthful about it, and then let people decide on that basis. But it's just back to the point, the policies of the party. I mean, we are a strongly patriotic party, and people when they think that you're anti-EU, they think that you're anti-Irish, but of course it's the opposite, because you're very pro-Irish, and some get a knee-jerk reaction and think that's pro-British, but of course it's not. We're strongly pro-Irish, but we're also against the EU. So it's once people kind of get over that, they do come on board with the policies. I thought that was very encouraging that some of my family were now in support of what I had said. So that would be that would augur well if there were elections in the north, I think.
I think would they not be interested in seeing the argument maybe for a 32 county?
Yeah, they would.
Is that what you're looking for? Is that what you're probably pushing? Is it the 32 county unity?
Yeah. Well, I suppose because the debate's already been made about leaving the EU. Yes, there would be that. Of course, we're an All Ireland party, so we would be like Sinn Féin and the SDLP, but only that we want to be out of the EU. So we would be pushing an All Ireland movement as well. Yes. So that could get quite a few votes there once people get over the shock horror of we're not pro EU.
Yeah.
And we have that sort of more conservative